So, analogy. You are hosting a dinner party. You invite some folk over, and they get there at the time that you said they should get there. And when they arrived, you still have on your shower cap, your slippers. You haven't gone shopping yet to get the food that you're going to be serving for this dinner party. And so here are these people like, okay, but I came hungry. I thought we were going to have this dinner party. I didn't know we are going to wait the few hours for you to get ready, right? And so it's a silly example, right? For what I would even kind of put as the work, you wouldn't require your guests right then to one of them go shop for the food while you finish getting ready, and then coming back and then cooking the dinner to this party that you invited them to, right? Like that wouldn't happen. And so in a similar way, when there are organizations or congregations that want to be inclusive of LGBTQ folk or people of different ethnic or racial identities, or et cetera, right? um you've got to get your house ready, you've got to get the food, you've got to cook it, right? Maybe ask them, do you have any dietary concerns? You're not going to cook ham sandwiches if the person doesn't eat ham or gluten, right? So this is the work of the church, right? Is how do we feed the people that we're trying to have here? And if we're only ever going to eat pork, there's going to be a lot of people who will not come because that is not actually a welcoming meal to them. And so again, not as a judgment or shame, because I think that's a tool of the oppressor, but as an invitation to and I think, again, to kind of answer the question that we were going to maybe get into, Jill, this idea that it really oughtn't be on the person who you're trying to invite to have to cook that meal for you, because they're coming to you because they're trying to get fed, they're trying to have community, right? So what do you need to do and learn to be that community that you desire, that is truly welcoming, right? So one easy question I'd ask you is, where do you get your information? Who are the people you follow on social media? Like, what are their identities? Is this, you know, CNN telling the story about Black people? How are Black people talking about their story? How are LGBTQ folk talking about their stories, right? Um, Truly, like, my Google search is the same as yours, like, so just type it into Google. And I think, being able to discern, like, not a skill I'm learning now maybe that everybody has, but like trying to discern, what could be like um uh reliable sourcing, but I would definitely say, I'm saying, like, hearing from the people who are this phrase that I've been using, I kind of typed into the PowerPoint too, like, nothing about us without us. So if it's a room full of white men writing laws about women's bodies, be very suspicious, right? I'm not going to get my information about white women's bodies from a room full of white men. So I would say diversify your sources, you know, um, truly. I mean, there's like a lot of free, like, see who the people are, different people of different identities are following on Twitter, and you'll almost always get like some free content. And then even then, I would encourage you to find their Cash App and like drop some change in their pockets, because it's a lot of work to always have to explain your existence and identities when you just want to be. And like earlier with Debbie, I just want to pee. I don't want to have to do the math of how people read me today if I'm going to have violence done against my body because my queerness is a threat to yours. But how, right? Literally, 0% of transgender people have enacted violence on people in bathrooms. Almost 100% of those enacting violence have been cisgender men. How many of those laws, bathroom laws, are based on the perpetrators of the violence and not the actual people who tend to be the victims of such violence, right? We have to change our narratives. We're making these transgender bathroom laws when it's not transgender people doing the harm. They say men in dresses. Well, guess what? It's men who are doing the violence, not trans women, right? Disrupt those narratives. They're deadly, they're violent, right?